Versus topics have been around forever. You can versus anything. McDonald's versus Burger King. Coke versus Pepsi. Well, I want to start a new series here on Chaos Gaming, and if you guys support it, we will keep it going. Today, I want to go into a Master Chief versus Doom Guy. Two of the biggest bosses in gaming history, but have you ever wondered which one of them would win a fight? Well, today, we're going to take a deep look at these two freaks of nature to see just who is better suited to take the other one on. You let me know in the comments who you think would win. Make sure you're sharing with your notifications on. We are going to go category by category and break down this matchup. And once we're finished, I'm going to give you my final verdict. And you guys can hash it out in the comments with you agreeing or disagreeing. It's going to be a good time. And if you want to see more versus videos, you let me know. What are we pitting up against each other? But now, let's go. We are going to start off with the category of the suit. Now, both Chief and Doom Guy have pretty awesome green suits of armor. I think we can all agree on that. I think it's pretty clear that Chief's is the more advanced of the two. Doom Guy has a whole bunch of weapons loaded into his suit, but he also doesn't have much in the way of defense. That's right. I mean, you still have to go around the levels to find your armor pickups when you're playing a Doom game. Chief, on the other hand, has regenerating shields built into his armor, so even if his body is damaged, he's still protected. Now, Chief may not have a flamethrower built into his shoulder like the Doom Guy, which is freaking awesome, but that flamethrower isn't going to do you much good if you're dead. You guys know what I mean there? Yeah. So, category 1, the suit. I think Chief has the edge in the armor department due to his suit being far more durable. Next up, the weapons. I mean, what is more important than the weapons? Whether you're fighting the Flood or the Covenant or the Demons of Hell, they're important. Now, Chief may have better suits of armor, but I think it's pretty obvious who has better weapons. Doom Guy has one of the greatest arsenals of weapons in gaming history with tons of iconic firearms at his disposal. The Super Shotgun, the Plasma Rifle, the Rocket Launcher, and then crazy ones like the BFG, the Unmaker, and the Crucible. Plus, he can carry all these guns in his pocket, somehow, magical. He's a wizard, so they're always ready for him to whip out. Chief, on the other hand, yes, has a lot of good weapons, but he can also only carry 2 at a time. What is up there? I know, he may have some great iconic guns like the Spartan Laser and the Fuel Rod Cannon, but you can only carry 2 at a time. So how much good can they really do against someone like Doom Guy? Both characters have some really good weapons at their disposal, but if we're comparing arsenals and utility, it's pretty clear. Doom Guy has the massive advantage. So check to Doom Guy in the weapons department. Next up, the category of bravery. This one's tricky. Both of these characters are extremely brave, but in different ways. Master Chief is definitely a brave fighter, whereas Doom Guy seems to have absolutely no fear at all. Now, it's one thing to be brave, it's another to be completely fearless. As stoic as Master Chief appears to be, there have been a few moments throughout the Halo games where he's definitely showed hesitation and was worried about what would happen one way or another. But Doom Guy, he gives no craps. He has his objective and he doesn't care about what's in front of him. It's like he has absolutely no regard for potential danger, and for that, I think he's the braver of the two. That doesn't mean that Chief isn't brave, but if both characters were put face to face with an earth-ending threat, I feel Doom Guy is definitely more likely to jump straight into the fray, so he gets the check mark here. Next category, intelligence. Now, bravery and intelligence are two very different things, and while Doom Guy may be more brave, I think it's clear that Chief is far more intelligent. Doom Guy is he's ready to throw himself at an obstacle and blast through it with shotguns, whereas Chief is one to strategize. He works with his allies, and throughout the Halo series, he has even managed to find common ground with his sworn enemies like the Arbiter and the Covenant. Chief is also an expert with vehicles. He can jump into just about anything and figure out how to pilot. Now, this all comes down to the fact that Doom Guy is a buff dude with an anger problem, while Chief is a super soldier, specifically created to be prepared for any situation. Brute force can't always get you through the problem, and Chief knows that far better than Doom Guy, so Chief gets the check here. The final category, the kill count. Now, this is actually hard to determine. Both Chief and Doom Guy have killed thousands upon thousands of enemies. Some Halo fans even estimate Chief's kill count to be in the 8-digit range, perhaps even more. After all, he's blown up countless Covenant bases and ships, some of which had hundreds of thousands of Covenant forces on board. On the other hand, some Doom superfans have actually done the math throughout all the Doom's lore and found that Doom Guy is responsible for over 7 billion demon deaths. So no matter who you're looking at, both Chief and Doom Guy have a ridiculous body count, and it's pretty easy to see why they have such a reputation in their respective universes. Throughout the Halo games, Covenant frequently refers to Master Chief as the Demon, In Halo 2, grunts will even scream, "It's the demon," and run away from you from time to time. Then again, just about every demon in hell is terrified of Doomguy due to how much destruction he has single-handedly delivered to their front door. I don't think there's a clear winner here. Doomguy has a higher kill count overall, but I mean, it's not like Chief isn't going to catch up if you let him, right? So for kill count, I'm calling it a tie. The final verdict. Now, ultimately, I think the winner of this fight would come down to circumstances. If Chief and Doomguy were thrown into an arena and told to duke it out, I think most people would agree Doomguy would win. He has way more firepower and brute strength at his disposal. However, if you told Doomguy and Master Chief separately to hunt each other down and gave them some prep time, I think Chief would have the edge. Like I said before, Chief is a master strategist. If he had the time, he would be able to research and study Doomguy's behavior and have a plan for everything. Doomguy, on the other hand, would just run straight at Chief and hope for the best. So, if there's no prep time, Doomguy wins by brute force. If there is prep time, I think Chief has a slight edge and he would be able to figure out a winning strategy. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. If you want more Versus series, you let me know what are we putting up against each other. Drop a like, and I'll see you soon.